This meeting was advertised on May 29th, 2022. The notice provided in the Pemberton County Times, the Post News, the Township of Pemberton. The Borough of Pemberton Joint Base Public Affairs Office. This notice has been posted on the official bulletin board in the Brotherhood Administration Building and on the School of Events on Channel 19. Email notices the Joint Base Office, the Board of Education's Public Affairs Office, and the School of Events on Channel 19. Mr. Smith, would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Bivens?
Here.
Mr. Fernandez?
Here.
Mr. King?
Here.
Mr. Lee?
Here.
Ms. Lowry?
Here.
Ms. Maldonado?
Here.
Ms. Skull? Ms. Knox?
Here.
Mr. Bauer?
Here, all rise for the pledge to the flag.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kenny reports. Terry, you want to give an update on negotiations?
Okay, at this time, all contracts are settled, and we are looking to start contracts again with the, I believe it's the principals, Mr. Smith? With the administrators, and that is all.
All right, Lyle, would you go to any township meetings?
Yes, matter of fact, I attended the Township council meeting last night, and the good news is there was a developer there who has a plan for the old BCC site, which hopefully will bring, houses and residents to the district, which hopefully will bring some students to the district. So that's some good news, and I hope that project goes forward. But I thought that was good news, and hopefully it works out and it helps the district out. But that's the news from the township.
Thank you very much. I did not attend the borough council meeting. Strategic planning, Wanda.
We have a tentative meeting scheduled for June 13th, pending everybody's availability for June 13th. I got that date right.
Wanda, do you want to give any information you have on the county and the state?
I would love to.
Please.
I attended the delegate assembly on Saturday. Just business as usual. They updated, reviewed some of their policies and updated those. Nothing that stands out that I think everybody needs to know about. They do, the executive director of over 10 years is retiring, so they'll be bringing in a new executive director come June 1st, I think. And
No, of course not.
we have the county meeting dinner will be next Thursday, May 26th, at the Medford Village Country Club, and that'll be at 6 p.m. I believe 8 of us are signed up to go to that, and really appreciate the support for going to that meeting. And I'm also signed up to go to the Leadership Weekend on June 2nd, 3rd, that weekend. So hopefully I'll be able to come back with some more information for you.
Thank you very much. Turn everything over to Mr. Havers, our superintendent.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bauer. First, we're going to start off with presentations. Here we have Mrs. Blue, principal of Stackhouse Elementary School, is going to explain to us one of the amazing programs we have at Stackhouse. Apparently with her team.
They're actually good.
Well, you can introduce them, Mrs. Blue.
Manita. Okay, so we have with us the kindergarten, or most of our kindergarten team. They're going to be talking about a service learning project that they just completed in the past month. So we have Mrs. Romano, Mrs. are Mrs. Cotton, Mrs. Morrow, Mrs. Allison, and then one of our kindergarten students, Ada Thompson. Oh, and Mrs. Martin.
Do I want to do this? Hi, everyone. We're here representing the kindergarten team at Stackhouse School.
This year we decided to expand on our Ready Gen reading unit, which focused on plants, life cycles, and patterns in nature. As a team, we combine science, literacy, and character education to create a flower garden.
Through this active service, we have the opportunity to beautify our school. At this time, I'd like to introduce Ada Thompson, who is one of our fantastic kindergarten students.
Hi, my name is Ada Thompson. This year in kindergarten, we talked about service. Service means to help us and others. So we planted flowers to make Stackhouse look better. My mom taught me how to garden. At the service project, I had a lot of fun.
Now we have a presentation, a video to show you about the project.
Oh, nice.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Blue, to our kindergarten teachers and aides, and what an impressive young lady, right? We talk about, yes. I'm thinking about, she also, in addition to, the reading about flowers, right, we write about them, we talk about character education, we talk about social studies, talk about the community, right, how we take care of our community, have pride in our community. And then you got to come out to a board meeting and speak at the age of 6 years old, right? And I think probably my favorite speaker of the whole group. Thank you very much. Thank you. Next up, there's a lot of pressure now on Maddie McGreevy. Where are you at? Maddie is student council representative who's going to speak to us and tell us what's already happening at the high school.
Okay, first of all, I went to Stackhouse grade school, best elementary school in the district, gotta say. One more presentation. Okay, so, on Friday, April 29th, we had our spring filling dance. It was the first and only dance for everyone this school year. It had a great turnout, and we had a lot of student volunteers. The day after, on April 30th, we had a character luncheon. Children and parents alike loved the event, and we had a lot of volunteers for that one too. Then we have decision day, so all of our seniors are officially decided on what they're going to do after high school. drinks, and there's also a raffle for Amazon gift cards. I didn't win one. It's okay. Our seniors had a great time. And then the next week on May 6th, we had Mr. Pemberton. Great show as per usual, and it was great to have back after COVID. The AP exams, they're finally over. Before we started them though, we had an AP breakfast where we all came down, we had breakfast together. It was a nice calming moment, which was very fun. And then after, we had an ice cream party, which was also fun. So we were so proud of our scholars for their hard work and perseverance. Sports, they're winding down so far. Boys tennis just finished yesterday. And our senior, William Phillips, our first singles, ended his season with a win. 2 days ago, there you go, on May 17th, we had the People's Choice Awards. Students were chosen by teachers and staff in the building by selecting students focused on one of our core values. This morning, the Choraleers went to perform at the National Prayer Breakfast on base. It was a multi-faith event, and they were very thankful that we could attend. The band canceled on them, so we had to show up. Honor Society, our new inductees have been tapped. Our induction will be May 24th, and we have very fun service projects in the works coming up. May 25th, the PSA and freshmen will have a picnic at Liberty Lakes. Over 160 freshmen and several PSAs will be attending. Also on May 25th, we will have our spring band concert. It will be the final one of the year, so you should really come. And then that Friday, May 27th, next week, still hasn't hit yet, senior prom is going to be at the aquarium. Not ready. I only have my dress.
Me too. Almost there.
It's been a long week. May 31st, we will have our Memorial Day service. It'll be outside at the Memorial Monument. Active military and veterans are invited. The Choraleers will be performing the national anthem, and I will be the master of ceremonies, so you should really come. On June 1st, we will have an epic event. It'll be held during the lunch period, and our activities include the I Scream for Gratitude, the Family in Need or the Fin Fund will have a toss for a cause. We'll have an Integrity, only take one snack challenge. We'll have a Perseverance challenge, various carnival games, and ice cream cups and other snacks will be served. The next day, on June 2nd, we'll have our final concert choir of the year. There are 12 songs, including Sweet, Choraleers, Men, and Seniors. It's free to attend. Once again, you should really be there. On June 3rd, we have our Ellis Island trip with the AP History students. They will be celebrating the completion of the AP testing and to study the American history in our region. June 6th to 10th is Pride Week. Our GSA club is hosting a Pride Week to celebrate Pride Month. Green and White Night is Friday, June 10th. It is our 50th anniversary. Technically, we didn't count the last 2 years. The 50th anniversary! Competitions from the students whose last name range from A to K are on the green team, and then L to Z are on the white team. Several events such as volleyball, grab ball, tire pole, Izzy Dizzy relay, human carry, tug of war, and Squamish will take place. Over 120 students and 20 alumni will be participating. Tuesday, June 7th will be the Senior Awards. Senior Awards and scholarship winners for the 2021 to 2022 school year. Seniors will be awarded and recognized for the scholarship they've applied for. On June 14th, we will have our senior picnic at JCC in Medford. There will be a pool, lake, inflatables, and food, and we're going to be celebrating our seniors for all their hard work and dedication over the last 4 years. And now, spring play. Although, I don't know how much time we have, so, Elwood, I think we gotta get going.
Of course, Veda. What event? I want you to meet Harvey. Not Miss Sharp, Harvey. As you can see, he's a cougar. Harvey, come on. I ain't heard you speak at the board today. Some of my oldest and dearest friends are on this board. You think that they should have tickets to the show? Oh, Harvey, that's a splendid idea. I have some in my coat pocket.
It's going to be our final show. So, really cool to see it. It's going to be outside. You all had to walk around the set to come in here. So, you should really come see it. It's going to be a great time. And then, finally, graduation, June 21st. I think everyone knows the drill at this point. Helen Ford. But it'll be special because I'll be speaking at it. So you should really come. Any questions?
Thank you very much, Maddie. No questions, I don't think. Thanks so much.
Have a great night.
All right, thank you.
Maddie, I just want to say, we're going to miss you. Good luck in your future endeavors.
All right, next up is Ms. Jenkins and Mr. Bowen, and we're going to be providing the SSDS bid reports for their first reporting. Ms. Jenkins also will do a small update on the wellness report. There's already a flyer and a brochure that everybody already has for that.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Rita Jenkins. I am the HIB coordinator for the district, harassment, intimidation, and bullying, and per the New Jersey Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights, I am required to report out at the Board of Education meetings. We have prescribed dates and calendars that we have to look at, and I will explain exactly what we've done. I want to reiterate that this is the report for the first reporting period, and that runs from September 1st through December 31st. So even though it's May, I'm reporting on the first half of the school year. So according to the Student Safety Data System, where we get all our guidance from, again, just to reiterate, we are told exactly when we have to submit our information to New Jersey Department of Ed, and then of course when our timeline is to report out at the Board of Education meeting, which is tonight. It is very scripted in that HIB, ITP, lots of acronyms, but it stands for harassment, intimidation, and bullying, and then it talks about the incidents, trainings, and programs. So as the coordinator for the district, I work in tandem with all of the anti-bullying specialists who are the school counselors in all of the respective buildings, and of course the administration that are doing their HIB investigations and reporting to me before I then send to Mr. Haver, superintendent, and then you, the board, officially approve. When I do report out, this is telling us exactly what I need to share, the HIB investigations, how many were confirmed and alleged, as we call founded and unfounded, how many HIB trainings were conducted, programs implemented to reduce HIB. And so we start with this year, again, September through December 31st throughout the district. You can see we have done 53 investigations, and 29 of those 53 investigations were founded, which means that it met the criteria for harassment, intimidation, and bullying. I then broke it down by school, so you can see the number of investigations at each school, and of those investigations, how many were founded. I will say there were an increase in the founded investigations. Usually more than half of our HIB investigations for a whole year are unfounded. This is halfway through the year. If I had to guess right now, we will probably be closer to 85 by the end of the year, which is typical. You will see that the information I reported last year was significantly lower, but do not forget the throes of the pandemic. For the last 2 years, our HIB numbers have been very low. In our software program, which is Hipster, I'm able to pull out exactly the percentage of where those incidents are occurring. As I always report out, the number of incidents on the chart will not add up to the total incidents because one HIB investigation could have taken place at various spots throughout the building. But it will tell you that the greatest percentage at the high school occurred in the hallway. The greatest percentage at Helen Ford occurred in classroom, and it breaks it down, as you can see, other areas. At Newcomb School, the greatest percentage of incidents occurred in the hallway. Denbo Creighton in the classroom, 35.7%. Byzantsky, only 2 incidents during that time. School bus. And I did not report on the other buildings because they're the only ones that had the HIB investigations during that time. Oftentimes, as you know, when I report out PECAC, the early grade schools, K through 2, typically do not have a lot of HIB investigations, if any. And then as we get a little bit older in age and we get a little zesty, we start to see some inappropriate things going back and forth. And just so the community is aware, I was here earlier this evening and I trained the board members in front of you tonight on HIB. It's another responsibility as district test coordinator. We actually did some scenarios, and I really wanted to be real with the board members to show what the buildings are up against and the process and understanding how we have to determine if something is founded or unfounded. Very difficult process at times because it's very scripted as to what the definition is. I added in here something that's not required. As some of you will remember, we have a lot of new board members. I talked about it briefly today, but a few years back, we decided on our own to institute a repeat offender process, which means we monitor, or I should say I monitor, and then pass it out to the building levels, any student that engages in repeat founded HIB investigations. And we do not go years and years, we go year to year. So we certainly want to give children the opportunity to remediate and to give them proactive measures to not repeat the same offense, but oftentimes we do. We do see that children engage. And so the information so far this year that I'm sharing is we had 6 students district-wide that had 2 founded HIB investigations and 1 student with 3 founded HIB investigations during that reporting period of September through December. And just so you're aware, the counselors that act as the anti-bullying specialists have a flow chart. When there are repeat offenders, there are remedial measures, counseling, things that they have to do with the building administration, which also includes involving the parents and guardians. And then when any student in the district has 2 founded HIB investigations, I, as affirmative action officer for students, go to the buildings, meet with the students. As a former counselor myself, I try to remediate, use some resources, supports, and then I call home and I have that conversation with the parent, and I inform that if they get to a 3rd founded HIB, the next step typically is a readmit conference with the parent and student with Mr. Haver's superintendent. And then at that point in time, if another HIB comes to play, there's the possibility that we will send that student out of district because we feel at that point needs a smaller environment, more counseling components and things of that nature. Also, part of my reporting, I need to tell you about HIB trainings throughout the district. I listed some of them there. Administration does their own trainings throughout the year, town hall meetings, teachers and faculty meetings. The guidance counselors are charged with going into the classrooms in the beginning of the year and doing HIB lessons, conflict resolution programs, peer mediation. There are several, I just listed some of them. Safe schools trainings that are mandated for all employees, and then HIBster training that I provide for the school counselors, on top of school climate safety teams that are met with the counselors and their respective teams at their buildings. And then some of the programs that we institute throughout the district to, again, give us better culture in the schools, character education, a better environment, and we know statistically and from data that decreases HIV in the buildings. I also wanted to mention the school self-assessment. They've been a little bit out of whack as far as the Department of Ed from the pandemic with due dates, but I wanted to assure everybody that we also have to, at the end of the school year, we have to self-assess, and that is really up for the school climate and the building administration team to come together, and they have to score their building's self-assessment, and it goes through the certain criteria. Last year's school self-assessment was completed. It had to be certified and submitted to you folks for approval. And then we just got word that we had to post it on our district website, which Jeannie McNella did, and it's all on our respective school websites as well. And I gave a look at the self-assessment. Again, if you see at the top, it's the 2021 school year. The most amount of points is 78, and each building has to score their own. And it breaks it down into the different components regarding HIB policy, programs, initiatives, etc. Again, this is the official release from the DOE, and it's posted on the district website and all respective school websites. Last but not least, this is a different role and responsibility I have is the District Wellness Committee per Board Policy 8505. We have a District Wellness Committee. We have to meet 4 times a year, and we talk about initiatives, we talk about concerns. This is something that Mr. Havers made mention that you folks already had to look over. I thank Jeannie McNella and Mary Douglas especially because she designed the Wellness Report Card. It talks about all of the great exciting things that all of our schools did during School Wellness Week, which was March 21st through the 25th. It is 2 pages, bright and colorful. I love the space theme, and it lists a lot of good information. We are required to do this for, again, Board Policy 8505. And that is all I have for you folks. Any questions for me regarding HIV? Ms. Larry?
I like your report. I saw that we had a lot of incidents in the classroom, and I just want to say, they were just getting back to school full time too. So hopefully we'll see something different, you know what I mean, the kids getting used to each other, and maybe that could be a factor. So thank you, it was very clear, I like that.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, I will add one thing. I am a little concerned about the founded hip investigations. There was a lot of, I would say, more than usual racial concerns in a lot of the hip investigations, so I am plotting and planning of what that's going to look like for next year. I know that we are going to look at some targeted focus groups. I know I'm going to be reaching out to the counselors and to the Hive and the junior Hive. You know, I don't have the answer as to why that is. I can give you my educated guess, and I know speaking with colleagues, they have seen an increase in HIV investigations as well. We are not, we are not alone. They have seen an increase in some biases and racial concerns, as I mentioned. So I think, I could go on and on. My thoughts are, I think the pandemic hurt us in a lot of ways. We have a lot of things in the news. More children were prone to social media, looking at the protests and a lot of the things that occurred in our country. So I just want to assure you that I am going to be working on that this summer. It's one of my summer projects, and I will put a program in place that I feel will hopefully benefit this, and certainly hope and intend to have a decrease next year when I report out. Thank you.
Ms. Jenkins, thank you
Yes.
for your presentation. More importantly, thank you for your passion for always supporting our kids.
Okay, to come upstairs.
Next up is Mr. Bowen.
Thank you, Chairs.
Yes,
Good evening,
yes.
everybody. I'm here, as Ms. Jenkins mentioned, this second part, my responsibility for the SSD report, is in conjunction to hers. So at the end of the calendar year, we do a report that goes to the state, we do it collectively. At the end of the year, same thing, we send my data, her data collectively, and that goes to the state. So why is this data important? I've gone over this before. It's added into several databases, the Gun Free School Act, School Performance Report for the state of New Jersey, EdFacts, which goes to the Department of Education, Civil Rights Data Collection. There are other state reporting requirements that Mrs. Jenkins and I do, like I said, collectively, that includes violence, vandalism, and substance abuse. And lastly, and importantly for me and for the school district, is I use this information. I map it out as well. And I see where, if I can identify areas and buildings that are prevalent to issues, and then we adjust security accordingly. So the numbers for 2021, it really pertains to 3 buildings. Newcomb Middle School, we had 8 in the violence category for a total of 8 across the building. Helen Ford had 51 in the violence category, 3 vandalism, 2 weapons, 2 2 substance abuse for a total of 58. At the high school, we had 20 violence, 1 weapon, 6 substance abuse, and 27 total for the building. And again, this is July through December. Looking at those numbers from the last full school year that we had, our last same reporting period, which would be 2019. 2020, we didn't have a reporting period because we didn't have kids in school. So looking at those numbers comparatively, 16 at Newcomb, 15 in Helen Ford. I duplicated Newcomb, I apologize. 27 at the high school for a total of 58 across the district. It might be easier to look at it this way. So the numbers in the violence category from 2019 are 48, and then comparatively speaking, 79 this particular school year. Vandalism, weapons, and substance abuse are pretty much the same. I'll go over what each one of those categories included in just a bit. So here it is breaking the numbers down. At the high school, this is all under the violence category. There were 9 fights, 2 assaults, 6 simple threats, 2 thefts, and 1 sex offense. The high school, there were middle school, 17 fights, 15 assaults, 13 simple threats, 6 thefts, and at Newcomb, 6 fights and 1 assault and 1 simple threat. So under the substance abuse category, at the high school, 2 were for possession of marijuana, 2 were for students being under the use of marijuana after being sent out for testing, and 1 was for possession of drug paraphernalia. At the middle school, 1 was for possession of alcohol and 1 was for possession of marijuana. And when you talk about the weapons, there were 3 reported incidents across the district, 1 at the high school, 2 in Halford, all involved possession of knives. So trying to understand the numbers, obviously, and this is something that you've heard repeatedly, remote learning and the social and emotional effects of COVID had a significant impact on our students nationwide and in Pemberton as well. I pulled up a study from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, 21 study, that I thought was pretty telling. So this is coming from Homeland Security. And it says, it's talking about the return to normal, if that's an actually good term, because I don't know that we've returned to normal yet. But it's after the pandemic, I think it was a February or March study that came out. And it said a survey of 3,300 youth aged 13 to 19 found that they had been experiencing multiple negative impacts, including 78% of the respondents are spending 4 hours or less each day in class or working on assignments. 30% of the respondents reported feeling unhappy or depressed, with nearly just as many reporting that they worry about having basic needs, food, medicine, and safety. "29% of the respondents do not feel connected to school." That's a telling number. That's 3 out of 10 rather, don't feel connected to school adults, with nearly as many reporting that they do not feel connected to the classmates of their community. In addition, respondents reported losing sleep, feeling under constant strain, or experiencing a loss of confidence. Some of the respondents reported that they had poor health. So with that being said, I'll ask, does the board have any questions?
We clearly see the numbers at the middle school tend to trend higher than the high school. Is there anything specific we're doing there to try to, I know there's no exact science, but it just seems like the middle school's numbers are all high.
They are high, and Mr. Lee, that's a great question. I think I try to refer back to myself. So when I was in elementary school, we had an east side and a west side elementary school. So for us, elementary was K through 6. After 6th grade, both elementary schools went to high school. So 7th grade was my first interaction with half the kids from town who I didn't know, never met before, had no idea who they are. So when you look at our district, those students that were in 5th grade when the pandemic began didn't finish 5th grade, were sent home because of the pandemic, and then may have very well lost their 6th grade year. If their parents chose to keep them home at the end of that 6th grade year, they never had an opportunity to come together with kids that they hadn't seen before. So their first opportunity for that was going to be at Helen Ford. And I think that's a huge issue. You get into a building where you don't know kids, they don't know you. You add in the stressors of having to wear a mask, not knowing whether you're going to be riding the bus, have to wear a mask on the bus, temperature short because you're frustrated with what's going on in your life. I don't know, and I don't think anyone knows how this affected students' home lives, but I have to imagine that everything I've read, everything I've heard, talking to other fellow security people in schools, that they're experiencing the same thing. I think it was just everything adding up against these kids, and they were put in a difficult position.
I have a question. Not a question. I looked at the numbers and it made me sad. It should have made all of us sad. I'm sorry. The real problem is, look at us adults. We the problem. I'm the problem, you're the problem. You know why? Because we sit here and the kids they take after us. We yell at each other, we treat each other like dirt. And then we wonder why a 7th grader treats somebody else like dirt. We have to stand up and be a better citizens for these children. I mean, no matter if you're down south or up here, everybody needs to start doing that. I'm sorry, I know I'm a little, because it just made me sick. And like you said, racial, it reflects our communities, okay? All of us. And nobody wants to say something. I got mad yesterday at Big Lots. You know what I went back in here and I said, man, she accused me of stealing. You know what I mean? I didn't have my receipt. You know what? I wanted to cuss her out. I'm not gonna lie. So I went back in there and I said, speak Cindy for me again. I said, Cindy, I was very upset how you treated me. I said, but guess what? Here's my receipt. And I actually videoed me talking to her like a human. I could have went back in and said, you gotta stop it. Because our kids can't comprehend that, and they reflect us as a community. So let's all try to take a moment now and say something that means something a little bit nicer. We all can look better. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, I'm always saying something crazy, and I've been nice lately, because they defeat me, and they keep me close. But at the same time, our kids reflect our community. Are we volunteering? Are we doing a cleanup? We have to stand up first, because these kids are reflecting us. I bet you we treat each other better in this community. I bet you our kids will treat each other better in middle school. So let's start there. Sorry, I don't want to yell at you, but okay, that's it. Bye-bye. Good job.
I do track the numbers every month, sometimes weekly, and I do see that our reportable offenses, the SSDS reportable offenses, are trending downward, which gives me a good feeling. I know that we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, I think you're right, Mr. Bowman. Just 2 comments to add to that. When you think about that, those 7th and 8th graders, right, or the 7th graders who were in 5th grade when we shut down, even if their parents chose to send them to school in 6th grade, we were closed for half of that time, right? We were closed in September, we closed in the middle of November, we were closed in December, we were closed in January, we were closed in February. And when they were able to go to school, they were only able to go to school every other day, right? So there's a big loss there. I personally, when we look at the numbers going down, I think we added security guards, which I think has helped. I think that I know that the administrations work with the teachers to focus on different areas like hats and hoodies at the middle school to make progress. And I personally think that once we were able to take off masks, I think that had a big impact because people can see each other. I think it helps us with empathy and understanding. So I think that also has a big impact. So again, half the year they weren't in school, every other day with a mask, big difference. So thank you.
Oh,
and I do want to say too, thank you, Mr. Bowen, for Police Week. Mr. Bowen worked really hard. Chief Wooders, the police department, great job. They were at the Helen Fort during recess, playing games and activities with them, building up relationships. They were at Byzanski for hours because of the essay contest. And then I believe they were at the high school this morning, some of them, because their culinary arts made them a lunch, I believe.
Very nice lunch.
Yeah, so it's just great to see our community come together and just build up an appreciation and build up an understanding. So thank you very much. Thank you. Next, Mr. Bauer, I have under administration, going to recommend the board approve the following: the enrollment for April, the HIB SSES report for April, the superintendent's HIB report to recognize the investigations completed through May 18th and to improve the investigations from May 24th to April 28th. Approve the intent to homeschool submission for April, and approve the mass action lawsuit for France Law Group. The actual contract is there.
Larry makes a motion to approve.
Second.
Jump this up a little bit. Do we have any questions for Mr. Havers? No questions, maybe have a motion to approve.
Larry makes a motion to approve.
Second.
Maldonado, second.
You know what I need is a roll call from you.
Ms. Vivens?
Yes.
Mr. Fernandez?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Ms. Lowry?
Yes.
Ms. Maldonado?
Yes.
Ms. Knox?
Yes.
Mr. Bauer?
Yes. Now moving into the opportunity for the public to address the board. Opportunity for the public to address the Board of Education regarding specific agenda items in accordance with public participation in board meetings, file code 1120. Chair shall limit discussion from each individual group. Representative to 5 minutes in accordance with policy 0167. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. No participant may address board members individually. The cards are filled out and they're here. May I have a motion to open the meeting for the public?
So moved.
Second, Larry.
All right, remember we were going to mention the name of the person, right?
Yes, our policy states, and the cards actually state to just, and make sure you state your name, where you reside, and what organization you're representing.
Put my name down.
All in favor, please?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we have, Andrew Spitnick.
Sir, I know I'm out of order. I would like to speak in the general public comment area. How would I go about doing that? And I apologize for the disruption.
That's later on in the meeting.
Okay.
Someone will assist you with a card to fill out.
Okay.
Here's a form that you
Thank you,
fill
Mrs.
out.
Mulvey.
Sure. You
Okay.
fill this out, and when you're done with it, I will take it over to the secretary for you.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Do you need a pen or anything?
Yes.
Okay, I'll get you a
Yes.
pen.
I will say, as usual, thank you for all that you do, everybody up here, everybody out there too. Policy 3233, political activities. I'm coming in here eyes wide open. I may recognize that I don't understand a lot of the language in the policy, but it seems rather biased that it's just towards teaching staff and not all staff.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Unless teaching
I got
staff
it.
encumbers everybody, I don't know.
Can you
Again,
get it?
terminology, wordings are huge. It just seems a little biased because, I mean, we all know that the NJA is part of the Democrat Party at this point. Again. But, you know, if you're gonna limit it to just the teachers, I think you should limit it to every staff member, unless there's another policy I'm not aware of. The other thing Number 4, with these meetings being held in this room, there's often students in the room. And there are often statements made in labor relations. There's also shows of support in uniforms, colors of shirts, even those with the logos and letters of those organizations. Just curious if that theoretically violates that policy. 3233. So, and again, in my opinion, no political, there's too much politics. I can't even watch a sporting event without seeing politics. I just don't want it in the school at all. Thank you.
Anybody else want to say anything? May I have a motion to close?
King, second.
All in favor?
Mr. Bauer, may I just say a few things?
Please.
The first thing is that the policy 3233 is for teachers. However, there's similar policies for other staff members. So 4,000 series addresses other staff members, non-certificated staff.
Thank you. Sure.
So there are other policies that are usually very similar.
Okay.
Other than that, I think I can defer to Mr. Cavall. I'm going to give it a 10 to Mr. Cavall, but I believe in a public meeting such as this, that policy would not necessarily be enforced in a public session like this, correct?
Yeah, yes, that's correct. There's also case law that deals with the issues of certain T-shirts, certain buttons, etc. So policy has no impact on that.
All right, moving on to minutes. May I have a motion to approve work session?
You have to fill this part out.
But it's not in accordance with the Sean line. I don't have to sign this out.
Want to do the work session?
I'm going on what the law says, not their policy. There's a difference there.
Okay.
Budget hearing on
Thank you.
April 28th, and the action minutes on April 28th. May I have a motion for those three?
So moved.
Any questions?
I'll second.
All right, may I have a roll call, please, Nan?
Ms. Bivens?
Yes.
Mr. Fernandez? Yes. Mr. King?
Yes.
Thank you for your help.
Yes.
Ms. Lowry?
Yes.
Ms. Maldonado?
Yes, I abstained from
That you felt it was a
5A,
violation and you didn't want to fill it out. Okay.
Thank you.
Ms. Knox?
Yes.
And Mr. Bauer?
Yes. Carmen, could you help us out with the next item? Which is, because Sherry's not here, that's curriculum committee. Oh, I'm sorry. I went to the wrong line, sorry about that.
We looked at, we had a meeting with the Curriculum Technology Committee. Number one, we always keep it abreast of all the technology devices in the district. We have a lot of breakage now because it's testing. You know, the students right now, they test on the computers. So now we noticing that our key don't work or something like that. However, we've been planning for this, so we have plenty of replacements, and our staff is keeping up with that. And they've been keeping us abreast every month on everything, so that's good. As we go on.
I didn't do that. I said good stuff.
I'm sorry. I lost my glasses. Oh, yes, we also had the updates done at Denver Crichton. This was technology. Denver Crichton was complete. We're still working on Newcomb, actually getting more signal so that the Wi-Fi is better in that area. So we've been working on that. We heard the teachers, we heard the staff, and that is in progress. Going on to our curriculum, we have a lot of agenda items that are just routine assemblies, field trips, the end of the year that have already been approved. We have details of all of that. We are also finished our Township PGP for 2023. And one more thing I wanted to say.
And some new approvals. The wellness thing that she already, Ms. Jenkins already covered, so I don't want to go and burn you anymore. That's about it. Thank you. Any questions about that?
Any questions? May I have a roll call for, a motion to approve? A second?
Second.
May I have a roll call, Dan?
Ms. Bivens?
Yes.
Mr. Fernandez? Yes. Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Ms. Lowry?
Yes.
Ms. Maldonado?
Yes.
Ms. Knox?
Yes.
Mr. Bauer?
Yes. Personnel one, could you guide us through them, please?
Let's see.
We hashed through this last week. The personnel committee discussed administrative leave, extra pay stipends, food service summer work, job description, a new job description, leave of absence, new hires, resignations, retirements, the sub list, and if anybody has any questions, I'm sure you've had time to review since last week.
If not, may I have a,
Mr. Bauer, I need clarification on something, please. On 10I, resignation of the part-time bus stipend position. Are we looking to fill that again before the new year?
I'm sorry, yes, we would like to, because we need to train our bus drivers. Part of that is the idea that we, part of the enticement to get drivers to come in is we provide free training. We have to support them to pass the CDL license test, because that is a difficult test. So yes, our goal is to replace that.
Okay, thank you.
any further questions from the board? May I have a motion to approve?
Larry, motion to approve.
Second?
Knox, second.
Thank you. May I have a roll call, Dan?
Ms. Bivens?
Yes.
Mr. Fernandez? Yes. Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Ms. Lowry?
Yes.
Ms. Maldonado?
Yes.
Ms. Knox?
Yes.
And Mr. Bauer?
Yes. Moving on to policy, Terry?
Okay, on tonight's agenda, the committee is recommended for a first approval for 11B, first reading, for the policies that were tabled on April 28th. There are policy rules, regulations, state mandated policies, and it's the completion of the 9,000 series that was reviewed. On 11C is also a first reading for policies, and again, it is going to be policy rules, regulations, state mandated. And also, there has been some questions and some concerns regarding policy 0168, recording of a board meeting. That policy will be coming back to committee for review. That is all, Mr. Bauer.
Any questions for Terry? On the board? May I have a motion to approve?
Larry, motion to approve. Knox, second.
Thank you. May I have a roll call, Dan?
Ms. Bivens?
Yes.
Mr. Fernandez? Yes. Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Ms. Lowry?
Yes.
Ms. Maldonado?
Yes.
Ms. Knox?
Yes.
And Mr. Bauer?
Yes. Moving on to finance, Carmen?
Good evening, everyone. The Finance Committee meeting was held on May 10th. I hope the board members were able to review the items. There's board report, bills list, budget transfers, authorization to issue a bid for HVAC services, the PTA, Pemberton Township High School well house, health benefits, and then the one item I wanted to bring attention to was the bank account that was compromised, but those issues were resolved, and Mr. Chris Smith has assured us that everything is straightened out with the bank. If you have any questions, you can ask me, or Mr. Smith would be probably a better person to answer.
May I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Knox.
Second, Maldonado.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Bivens?
Yes.
Mr. Fernandez? Yes. Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Ms. Lowry?
Yes.
Ms. Maldonado?
Yes.
Ms. Knox?
Yes.
And Mr. Bauer?
Yes. Now this is an opportunity for the public to submit cards, which I see to the left of me, and that's non-agenda items. I have to read this in accordance with the law, in accordance with public participation in board meetings, while under 1120. Chair shall limit discussions from each individual or group representative to 5 minutes in accordance with policy 0167. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. No participant may address or question a board member. And the card's been filled out. May I have a motion to open the public?
So moved, Bivens.
Second?
Second, Knox.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Rob? Who was here? So we'll move on to the next person.
Wait, who's that person?
Go right back to him. Diane Finucci. Is Diane here tonight? Oh, okay, hi Diane.
Hello, how are you?
Good.
Okay, Mr. Smith, that's a good thing. Hi, everybody. I wasn't here last week for the workshop meeting because, stupid me, I thought it was the third and fourth Thursdays, and you guys like pulled a trick on me. But anyway, so I wasn't here for all the brouhaha about the policy concerning public speaking at these self-same meetings. So I just want to throw my little thing out there. I read the article in the paper because that's the only way I know what happened. And I just want to, since I speak every now and then, as you know, I hope that we can, now tonight you did it, I hope that in the future you always will let someone speak even if they're late, AKA, I'm a field hockey official, sometimes I'm still on the field at 6:30 on a Thursday, and if I want to come for my game to hear and speak, I'm hoping that my card will be accepted with a time after 6:30. So if you could just leave that open-ended, that would be great. I know you've already passed the policy as it was written. I think there was a time specific in there, but I might be incorrect. Because the whole point of this is to be transparent as a board and as a community. So you need everyone to be able to speak, no matter what the circumstances are. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Thanks.
Thank you, Diane. Rob Moore?
Next. Good evening, everyone. I'm Rob Horn, President of the PTEA.
Can we turn the light off, please?
All right, we'll start again. Good evening, everyone. I'm Rob Horn, President of the PTEA. I have spoken to you the last 2 months about the authoritarian new policy for recording board meetings. I continue to contend that this policy is unnecessary and potentially unconstitutional. Recording at board meetings has never been a problem, but this policy has made it one. I had stated that it was a waste of everyone's time to require people to have to notify the board secretary every month that they want to record meetings, and for the secretary to have to forward the same policy to them. Mr. Havers told me yesterday that he agrees with this and he has reconsidered requiring monthly notice to record meetings. He said a blanket request to record all meetings would suffice. I appreciate this, as it removes at least one unnecessary aspect of this policy. But there are still other concerns. Board agendas have not always been posted in a timely manner. So if a parent sees a concerning issue on the agenda, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, and wanted to record this discussion of this issue, they would not be able to, because it would be less than 3 days prior to the meeting. Additionally, the requirement that the person doing the recording would have to turn over the videos to the board is a potential violation of the Fourth Amendment against illegal search and seizure. How will you police this policy? If you don't have enough money to provide teachers with ink cartridges for their classroom printers, how much will you spend to track down videos of a public meeting and defend the district against Fourth Amendment lawsuits? On another topic, at the April board meeting, I shared with you all a report of the results of our PTEA member survey administered in February. I hope you've had a chance to look at it, as it provides accurate snapshots of where our staff members stand on important issues. In his response, Mr. Havers said that, quote, union leadership is an autocratic dictator, in that it had been reported to him that the union pressured members to answer questions a certain way. This response is problematic for several reasons. First, union organization is democratic to a fault. I don't know too many dictators who give climate surveys to their citizens. I'm imagining Kim Jong-un surveying the North Koreans. Are you satisfied with our current levels of starvation and propaganda? As a former history teacher, Mr. Havers knows very well there was nothing dictatorial about my position or how the survey was conducted. I don't know what kind of power he thinks we have. Do I look like Jimmy Hoffa? Are we out there busting kneecaps? It's a rhetorical question, we're not. Secondly, Mr. Havers questioned my integrity with no evidence provided to substantiate it. Who reported the claims of union pressure to Mr. Havers? How much credibility does an anonymous employee have in reporting such nonsense? Obviously, it's a self-serving individual who has an axe to grind with the association if they would relay this kind of misinformation to the superintendent. Thirdly, the survey results don't indicate any uniformity of responses, so I am confident that people felt comfortable answering honestly. No answers were 100% across the board. For example, to the question, do you feel like you are respected as a professional by district administration? 62.4% said no, 23.9% said yes, and 13.7% said, I don't know. While 62% feel disrespected, 24% feel that they are respected, and that's their opinion. There was no arm twisting for everyone to say they feel disrespected. But if I was an administrator, I would certainly want to know why 62% of my employees feel like they are not respected. I would want to try to change this. Fourthly, Mr. Havers told you that morale is low because in February we were still in contract negotiations, as if magically all the other problems have been solved because we ratified the contract. This dismissive response denies the reality that morale continues to suffer. For example, in almost every school, I speak with staff members who are absolutely demoralized by the ongoing student behavior problems and the ineffectual and non-progressive consequences administration gives to students who repeatedly disrespect and abuse our staff members. I find it deeply concerning that the results of this survey are not being taken seriously, as it only reinforces my claim that our voices are not truly valued. To continue to deny the problems or to dictate solutions in a top-down manner is not in the best interest of the students who we serve. Finally, if you question the results of this survey, I ask the board to request that Mr. Havers implement an anonymous survey with the same exact questions and see if the results are any different. I will continue to hold out hope that we can all work together to solve common problems and improve our schools for the betterment of our students and the professionals dedicated to serving them. Thank you for listening.
Nancy Martin.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Nancy Meyer. I live in Marlton, New Jersey. I teach here at Pemberton Township High School. I have a short message to share with you all this evening. The beginning of this month started off with bang. It was Teacher Appreciation Day. Some schools celebrated for a day, other schools celebrated for a week. Here at PTHS, we began our week of appreciation with, let me start that sentence over. Here at PTHS, we began our week with an appreciation coin and a lovely pair of socks from our secondary special ed supervisor. Teachers received a calendar from the student council and a pen from the Future Business Leaders Club. And to top it all off, the administration here at PTHS gave the teachers and the staff an amazing luncheon with an array of delicious food that encompassed those who had dietary issues. It was truly heartwarming to be appreciated and honored to be in such a delightful situation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nancy. Justine Noah.
Good evening. I'm actually glad I attended this meeting to see
the HIB report and all of the numbers, because I'm here to talk about mental health in our district. I don't know if you've heard recently, but there was a 12-year-old named Drake Hardman in Utah. He's 12, my son is 12. He's a blonde-haired, blue-eyed kid, so is my son. Happy-go-lucky kid, involved in sports, loved going to school, so is my son. His parents found him, he hung himself from his bunk bed. This happens at 12 years old. It happens at 11, it happens at 10. Children in our district are suffering, and I really don't think that we're doing very much about it other than putting it on the teachers. You can train them, they can go to all of these classes, but the teachers are here to teach, but it's hard for them to teach math or science or social studies when kids are coming to school with so much on their shoulders. In Connecticut, they adopted a cognitive behavioral intervention for trauma in schools. I'm wondering if we can look into budgeting some money to get some professionals into our schools to alleviate the stress on the teachers so that they can teach what they're here to do. Also, teachers are evaluated on the students' performances on these tests. So if kids are coming to school with trauma, with whatever's on their shoulders that day, and the children aren't testing well, then that reflects poorly on the teachers. And all of my teachers, or all of the teachers in my children's days, have been nothing but amazing. I make sure every single one of them knew how amazing that they were during Teacher Appreciation. I make sure that I know how much I appreciate them during Christmas time, anytime that I can. I love the teachers in this district. I really think that they go above and beyond. But we have to stop putting everything that's going on in our schools on their shoulders. We have to start looking outside to get some help within the schools to be dealing with what's going on. Children aren't being bad for the sake of being bad. You have to understand the pandemic didn't just affect them. It affected us as parents. I live in a two-parent household, but we struggled having 3 kids at home in 3 different classes, trying to manage it all. Some parents weren't there and they were at work, and some kids were just left with friends or neighbors or grandparents, and everyone's trying to come back from that, and I don't think all kids manage that well. And take a look around us now. The price of food is going up. The price of gas is going up. That affects our district. It affects our children. But we can't keep putting it on the backs of teachers. They're doing a great job, don't get me wrong. They're doing a fantastic job, but it's weighing them down. And I'll be honest with you, I was in the process of going to school to be a teacher, and I changed courses because of this. Teachers are not doing what they got into the profession to do, the love of helping students. Now, I'm still going to do that. I do it with my Girl Scout troop. I'm still going to do it. I changed courses. I'm going to be a guidance counselor. I can still help children without having to be in the classroom and with all the red tape. So you have to understand what they're up against and what they're facing. Also, positive reinforcement. I have 2 kids in middle school. I have yet to see any award ceremonies, any National Honor Society that the kids were inducted. They kind of missed it. It was online, and we never went back to that. I have a couple of kids that made honor roll. We didn't have an assembly. We didn't address that really. I think we need to bring back positive reinforcement. And also, you're talking about middle school kids and them not feeling like they're one and together. Well, one of the things that's gone on in the district for a while that I'm really sad about is the 8th grade promotion ceremony. I don't understand why we need to have 3 separate ceremonies on 2 different days. My daughter has been with her Girl Scout troop with 10 other girls since they've been in kindergarten, and they're all split up in 3 different ceremonies, and they can't congratulate each other on graduating 8th grade. Some of them will go to this high school, some of them will go to BCIT. But again, we're dividing them instead of bringing them together. So that's all I wanted to say tonight. Thank you for listening to me.
This part is a little bit different. It says good citizen. Is it good citizen?
Yes, sir.
All right, come on down.
Come on down.
Hello, my first name is John. I'm a First Amendment advocate, a citizen journalist, and an advocate for disability rights. I deal with First Amendment issues across the state and in other states as well too. This policy is nothing. It's a violation of the United States Constitution, the public sunshine. What else? Contract.
Public Meetings Act. You're
Yeah.
addressing the board, you address the board.
Yeah, I need his assistance.
Citizen will act as part of it.
I need assistance too. So it's part of my disability. Sometimes I mess up words, and that could be a combination too. So like I said, this is nothing. I will not. For me as a person, this is like the stuff that I deal with on a weekly basis with different townships, police officers, you name it. I've dealt with it. This is a violation. And it's not fair for the community members of the high school and school. They don't need more red tape and everything else. Because I got no bone, I don't have no bone within this community, but I do have a bone with the overall, the policies and stuff like that contradicts the Constitution, the state law, and all that bit. So, thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you, ma'am. Patrick Duff.
Greetings, how you doing? My name's Patrick Duff. I'm also an activist, First Amendment activist. I do my own blog. I don't know if you saw, but I wrote a blog about this meeting. I brought her out tonight. Appreciate her coming. Number one, I didn't know about the new rule that you're putting, that the person has to show up at a certain time and give you a card. I mean, why can't they just raise their hand if they got something to say? What if they heard something during the meeting that inspired them to make a comment? That they can't say nothing? I mean, that's why the kids are fighting each other. Kids, if they don't feel like they have a voice, they fight each other. I'm going to tell you guys some numbers from Pemberton. 2015 and 2016, ProPublica did something called miseducation. They looked at the discipline of children in schools. They looked at the discipline of the disparities. They looked at the disparities also in opportunity. Howard L. Emmons School in 2015 and 2016 disciplined children of two or more races 20 times more than white kids. 20 times more. Your high school disciplines, at least in that year, 2015 and 2016, disciplines black kids and kids of two or more races at 7.8 times more than white kids. So if I'm looking at this from the outside, I'd say you want to do a study and check that out. Now, the reason why I say that is because I just learned that while I was sitting there. And I didn't have the opportunity to grab the card and fill it out and bring it in here. You know? So you have to, number one, if you try to force that policy, and I know about it, right? You try to do it to me, I'm going to sue you, and you're going to have to file a policy. But if what you should do, and this is just the way I see it, as a board, as a body, what's scary is when you're not back on the board, when you create these rules that later on in your life come back to bite you as parents and as community members. You inhibit your own activity in the community by doing this. So I'm glad I heard, if I'm not wrong, that you're going to bring that policy of recording back to discuss it. And the reasoning behind it, and I've been to city council meetings in Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, Camden. If you've ever heard of the Camden Martin Luther King Memorial House, where Martin Luther King actually planned his first civil rights battle, I'm the guy researching that. I'm the guy that's fighting against the state to try to save that house. So, you know, by the way, I'm a high school dropout. You know why? Because people in high school didn't listen to me. Because I was a critical thinker. You want critical thinkers in your school. You want people to be able to raise their hand and make a comment. Without that, these kids, that's what they're seeing, as she said. You know, people who don't have a voice, they get frustrated. Oh,
summer of violence in 2020 was a frustrated group of individuals. Dr. King actually said that a riot is the voice of the voiceless. Because when people don't know what to do, they act out. So it's up to you to set these good examples of transparency, of openness, of love. You know, Dr. King actually had to say, he said that darkness cannot defeat darkness, only light can. Just as hate cannot defeat hate, only love can. So an untransparent government body is darkness. You're creating darkness that should not be there. The reason why it's called the Sunshine Act, which you're in violation of, is to bring sunshine to where it doesn't shine, which is generally in government bodies, which is so sad. You know, I would say if you're trying to make rules to make it less transparent, go the other way. Try to make it more transparent. Make it so if a parent shows up here at 8 o'clock and they want to raise their hand at the end of the meeting, they can say something. Just as the woman said, people have busy lives. I could be right now with my mom and dad or my son, they live a long way away. But this was important enough for me to get up, drive 45 minutes, handicapped person to get up, drive even more than that, to come here to let you know your policies should not be enforced and should be absolutely 100% rescinded. And I really do appreciate all your time. I appreciate the fact that you're here to fight for the kids, but you got to give the kids a voice, and you do that by giving the parents a voice. Thank you.
Is there anyone else?
One moment.
Sorry for the extra delay.
That's all right, go whenever you're ready, sir.
Thank you. I am Joe DeVito, a math teacher at Helen Ford Middle School. I've been teaching there for 17 years. And I just want to talk a little bit about some of Mr. Bowen's report, the school climate at Helen Ford Middle School, particularly since I worked there. And just a little bit about board policy 0168, I think it was. I mean, I'm not really going to speak to it too much, but because others have already outlined, I think, what needs to be heard. I find it remarkable that this is a topic. Absolutely remarkable. And now, potentially, we're going to also limit the speaking at board meetings. So, I mean, that's all I have on that. But back to the violence report. So what I noticed, and I was able to acquire images of the report, and it seems, incidents in that time frame, from July through December of 2019, moving to July through December of 2021, if I'm correct, incidents were up by a total of 35. And incidents at Helen Ford Middle School increased by 43. So I think maybe we can isolate the problem. And I worry about some of the language. Now, I understand, the pandemic is a factor, right? And all the dynamics associated with the pandemic, the dynamics associated, or at least the implications of, child growth through that time frame. I get that, but I worry that we place the blame entirely on the pandemic, because this, might suggest that the solution will essentially present itself in the long run. This will just subside. But I think we need to consider developing our own solutions. And so I'll just point to one thing. Now, I know that at the middle school, we've had some difficulty developing a strong PTO, okay? I know that there's, you know, for example, so my son attends middle school in Southampton, okay? He's a 7th grader. And they just had their third dance, their third school dance of the year, right? And they're going to have a 4th one, which is exclusively for 8th graders, but still, 8th graders have the opportunity to attend 4 dances. Our students have had 0, absolutely 0. And to me, for me, that means we need to develop clear incentives for our students, you know, and we need to communicate them very clearly to our students that, you know, there are incentives for good behavior, you know, and I think that from my experience in the building, I think that there's a lack of incentives for the students, and I think that could be something that we could maybe find, or maybe not easily develop solutions for, but it's something that we can get started with. One more thing that I would suggest again, which I suggested the last time I spoke, is bringing back teams, which in my opinion would bring, you know, a more holistic approach to developing our students, you know, in our community. This would give all the teachers, you know, across discipline, time to meet about specific students, time to reach out to families, to communicate to the community. These are things that we talk about doing all the time, but do we really invest our time in that? I say no. I say we don't. We don't do it enough. Maybe someone can point out something that we are doing that I'm not seeing, but, you know, as I said, I've been working in this building for 17 years, and I'm here because I want us to do good. That's why I'm speaking to you. I want our school to succeed. Thanks.
Second, no.
In favor?
Done.
Mr. Barry, yeah, I'd like to respond to a few items. Number one, we are working towards addressing mental health. I do agree it definitely should not fall on teachers' shoulders. The reality is there is a real challenge because the school is it's an educational institution, right? It's not a mental health facility. So our job is to try to work with them. We've expanded junior high. We work on being trauma informed. We work with police in terms of handling care. We have a mindfulness committee. We work with care. We have purchased Care Solace so that we can link parents up for kids in need with the resources they need, because that is something that has to be done outside of school. We don't have the capacity to do that in a school district. There is an 8th grade dance, June 4th, which is good. National Junior Honor Society is on June 13th. There's a Zest Fest scheduled for June 16th in the middle school. 8th grade promotion ceremony is a promotion ceremony, and we divide it up because of capacity. And the only other thing I'll say about the survey is that there are a lot of confounding variables with the survey. Thank you, Mr. Bell.
Thank you, sir. Board comments. Carmen, I always target you because you're smiling, and you definitely want to do this. Go ahead.
Mr. Bauer, I generally don't speak my mind, and tonight is not the night I will do it either. I can assure you I have a lot to say. And the 2 things I will say today, my daughter attends Denver Brighton, and she's not here today, so I'm sure somebody will tell her, but Mrs. Horton, the school nurse, has been absolutely wonderful. She hurt herself at school, And I'm eternally grateful. She's so sweet. And the other one is a fellow ESL teacher, Mrs. Siobhan Valent. She subbed today, and my daughter said she was firm and so nice. And I just hope that we all as teachers hear that compliment, and as parents we hear our children say that. So I want to thank the Pembroke Private staff for just being wonderful. That's where I started my teaching career, and I thank them all. They are absolutely wonderful. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you very much, Sherry.
Thank you all for coming out. I'm so proud of that little girl who spoke tonight. Oh my goodness, I was like, that's why I've been stuttering all night. Like, oh my goodness, I need to take some speech lessons from her. But thank you. I'm not gonna say much. I'm glad you came out. I'm just gonna say, I joined this board because I really enjoy the teachers. I mean, I've met a lot of y'all teachers outside of the classroom. Okay, Ms. Sharp, and I really enjoy it. I mean, good, bad, I don't have, every experience is not gonna be great, but let's keep going. I'm proud of this district too, because we do talk, we do share, you know, and let's keep doing that, you know what I mean? Because you see what? We all working to work together. So, and I like the fact that we all talking. So keep talking, thank you for coming out, and that's it, you know, that's it, I'm good. Good night.
Come to the play this weekend.
Yeah, support some of this stuff going on over here. I mean, not to say that. Oh, we're not gonna say the play, but we have some cleanup stuff going on and all that, you know, come. If you want great donuts, I will take one. I will show you my support and eat your food.
Thank you, Sherry. Pete?
Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody, and just look on Harvey's one of my favorite films, so I really look forward to seeing the play this weekend. And I think our schools are doing a good job. There's some areas where we definitely need to improve. I still question the 55 policy and don't like it, but other than that, I think we're doing a good job.
Roberta?
Thank everyone for coming out. I'd also like to commend that young lady who's a kindergartner. I don't know if you know, but she was reading her speech. I'm like, wow, she's reading in kindergarten. That's amazing. Thank you.
Yes, they do. They do.
I'd like to thank everybody for their presentations and reports today. I'd also like to take this second, Mr. Smith, to correct my vote on personnel. I should have mentioned that I needed to abstain on all items in which I may be conflicted. I know I need to do that before the end of the meeting, so I thought I'd slide it in here. I'm really excited to go see Harvey this weekend, Friday night and Saturday night at 6 o'clock. Hope to see you all there.
Thank you, Wanda.
I just want to say thank you, everybody, for coming out. Have a safe evening and safe travels home. And if you have never seen a show in Pemberton Township High School, please come out. You don't know what you're missing. Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you very much. I really don't have any comments. I'm sorry.
Mr. Bowers, LC, sitting on, no, you're good, Mr. P. But, once again, as all my colleagues, thanks for coming out. And also, I joined the board because I'm a committed community member, committed to this community, and dedicated to helping these kids in any way, capacity that I can. I'm getting more used to not being able to do some of the things I used to be able to do in district, and trying to concentrate on some of the things that I can do. But I brought up the middle school for one reason, because I'm committed to whatever plan that we come up with to fixing that building, because it has been, and I'm just speaking from my experience of being around here and dealing with that building. It has been, we've been working on it for a while. And, I know a lot of people are frustrated in the community. I know a lot of people on the board are frustrated that we just haven't been able to get, the right formula over there to get that thing going in the right direction. But me being new to the board, I'm letting everybody know now that I'm putting myself, I will do anything possible that I could do to help turn the whole district around, not just the middle, for just the whole thing, because I got a lot of hands and things around here, and I'm trying to help on both sides of the equation. I'm trying to get more students in here, I'm trying to get buildings here, I'm trying to get things circulated here, so we can improve this. We have a lot of struggles, and none of this stuff is easy. All these people up here have a very hard job. And, you know, we'd like to wave a magic wand and fix all this stuff real quick too. But that's not how this works. And so we're committed, I'm committed to trying to fix whatever problems we got so we can get this thing back. Yes, we're coming out of COVID, it's gonna take time. You know, everybody's dealing with COVID, we're not the only one. It's not our problem, it's just not just our problem. So hopefully, going forward, we can all work together and fix these problems. Thank you.
My apologies for, I did that on purpose, I didn't see you, but I just want to say that you are in fact very committed, because I go to the committee meetings, I go to all the committee meetings, but I go to the committee meetings and I listen to you, and I hear your interest in our school, which didn't just start with being on the school board, but you've been very involved with the high school students for many, many, many years. And I appreciate your time and your thoughts. Good work. We're going to have an executive session because we've got some legal things to go over in personnel, and we'll be back in 70 minutes. So if you'd like to stay here for 70 more minutes, please, you're welcome. Thanks very much for spending your evening with us. Don't forget.
Action will be taken. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Motion to move to executive session?
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.